Hello,
Hello.
how are you?
I'm good. Yeah. How are you?
Yes, not bad, thank you. Not bad. How's
Good.
training or not? Training.
Uh,
How's
it's,
jogging?
I'm rediscovering a love for the hills. That's what this last week has been.
Oh, okay. Um,
Yeah.
I can't. I'm a bit confused. Are you still running Manchester, or are you just ditching it completely, or are you just going to go for a jolly?
I'm ditching it completely because I don't trust myself to be able to do a jolly.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, I would 100% get sucked up into the race, especially with the wave start times. I'd be going with everyone else who's going for sub 3 anyway, as it is. So I
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah,
I know myself. I
yeah,
would just see how it went,
yeah, okay.
and then
Very
that
sensible, I think.
playing the long game.
Yes, yes.
Try
Well,
and
it
expect
is
it.
a long game.
Yeah, try it. Yeah, exactly. Long distance game.
The very definition is a long distance game. So, okay, cool. Well, I'm really looking forward to talking to our guest tonight,
Yes, me too.
Tom Joly. Um, I think he's going to have some really interesting things to say about sponsorship and money in the sport. Um, yeah, I think it'll be a really interesting sort of insight into what it's like, especially after when we talked last week um, to Fee about the pressures on athletes.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, I don't know if she's paid or sponsored or what, but yeah, I can imagine what that's like.
Probably, I think is the answer.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. What is it like, Robin? Tell me.
Uh, maybe one day.
Um,
No,
but
I know. I've spoken to him sort of on and off the last 2 years. Yeah, he's such a great guy, and he looks
yeah.
like he's taken it upon himself to really dive deeply into
Mm,
the
mm.
world of trail running and sponsorships and what people are worth. Yeah, it'd be really interesting to talk about, I think.
Influencing followers.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is interesting. And also now the sort of perhaps the switch away from Instagram to TikTok and the younger generation coming through.
Yeah.
Um, I've had to don that evil cloak on behalf of Run Ultra, really just to capture that audience because that's what it's all about, isn't it? When you're in the market, you've got to
Yeah.
try and reach as many people as possible, whatever you are and whatever you do.
Yeah, I tried it. I tried it for a little while, but it just wasn't catching as much as Instagram was. So it's kind of just been shelved for now. But
Yeah.
that's not to say that I won't go back to it at some point.
No, and if you don't need to because your numbers are fine for your
Yeah.
races and stuff like that, then yeah, there's no need to dip your toe in that bog.
I get the feeling that you need to have more of a quirk to pick up the followers on TikTok or to be a bit more out there. The biggest sort of running TikTok people are the people doing crazy run streaks and what's the guy who just does crazy amounts of he's done a crazy streak of over 100 miles a week for a long, long time. Andy something, I can't remember his name. But stuff like
Really?
that, where
Okay. Yeah.
the youngsters like pitting them off against each other, like, well, this guy's better. Look at what he's doing.
Oh,
Yeah,
well, I guess I'm too old to take all that into account. I just post my Run Ultra stuff.
yeah,
But I mean, people are noticing and people are following, dare I say it.
yeah.
So, yeah, I've got 356 followers, so
Oh, well done.
they're all clearly idiots, but there we go. Following me. Ah, Tom has entered the building. Let us admit him. And yeah, we'll see. We'll see how my view comes out as well. And we can start quizzing him. I'm sure I admitted him, but he appears to have no, he's gone.
Oh,
Oh, hang on a minute. I've gone back up. Ah, I think he's coming.
Video unmute.
There you are.
I'm in.
welcome.
Hello. How are you?
Hi. Hi, good. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. There you
Good.
are.
I just got
Perfect.
how are you? Sorry, I just got out of the gym.
Oh, very good. Yes. Yeah. No. Yeah. We're both good. We're just having a little catch-up chat before you came on. Um.
Nice.
I think you do know each other, don't you? So.
Yes, yeah, we've been talking back and forth a bit on various things.
Yeah. 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 So.
But I've been putting more on Robin's plate, not that he needs it.
Oh, really?
Trying to get me to do a trail money running roundup, but I never.
Literally impossible task.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
How are you doing, Robin? I saw you feeling a bit overworked recently.
Yeah. I have been, but sort of the last week, definitely coming out the other side. Yeah, starting to feel good, and definitely going out in the hills has made that recovery quicker for sure. I've missed it.
Yeah,
Yeah, the roads are being ditched for happiness in the hills for me.
nice.
You mean you're not
Yeah,
missing that run up and down the A6 or in the industrial estate for your marathon training?
not right now.
I mean, who wouldn't?
No,
Oh,
no.
brilliant. Well, thank you for joining us, Tom. Um,
No, thanks for having me on.
I mean, I think, I mean, we'd love to just hear about your plans for the year, but also, obviously, I think, as I mentioned, what was of particular interest to me was your article, your own blog post about sponsorship for runners, and I think you're one of the few people who's willing to share what happens, and in the hope that if more people do, then it becomes a more open discussion around the place. So yeah, I mean, well, first of all, tell us what's your next race, and what are your hopes for it?
Next race at the moment is Ultra Trail Snowdonia 100 miler. Um, and my coach, Doug Stewart, TMR coaching, is going to be crewing for me. So I've set a rather ambitious goal of trying to go for the course record, which is currently held by Mark Derbyshire
Right.
from last year. And I know Mark has had a couple of goes at that race. And I've spoken to him, and he's been super open and really helpful with like giving me tips on the course,
Mm,
which sections to pay attention to on recce's, where not to go too fast, which was quite interesting. Like he said, this last year he was about 30 minutes slower to Kapelkurg, which is at 50k,
okay.
and as a result, he felt much better then for the rest of the race. And I think there's a temptation to really push that first 50k because there's
Mm,
a nasty descent down. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right. Mol Shabod,
yes.
um, which you go down basically if you're in the front group at around sunset. So there's like the temptation is if you push that 30 minutes, you could get down it in the light, which would save you a lot of stress,
Mm,
but you're potentially taking a big risk for the rest of your race. So that was all very interesting and useful. And I think a lot will depend
mm,
on the weather because if that course is wet, that's going to make it a lot harder. So I
yeah.
think you want dry, warm conditions.
Oh, brilliant. And you were obviously supposed to do Chianti, um,
Mm.
but you pulled out sensibly.
Yeah, sadly, I had the Kailas Fuga team camp was the week before in Italy, in Tuscany. So I thought, perfect. What a great combination. I can
Mm,
go do the team camp, see the course, and then do the race all in one
yeah.
efficient trip. And of course, with us all being in one hotel, athletes coming from Asia, all over Europe, um, I probably should have given it a bit more thought. And I picked up flu.
Mm,
The first time I've had real flu, and I assumed it was COVID because I thought, well, nothing can be as bad as this apart from COVID. but test came back negative, but basically all the same symptoms, stuck in bed, coughing up lungs for a week. So it was an easy decision not to race. It wasn't one of those 50-50s where you're like, am I going to do it and just put myself in a hole? It was a case of I can't even run to the end of the drive, let alone to the first checkpoint.
Because real flu is awful. I had it about a year ago and it completely knocked me out for a couple of days at least. It's terrible.
Proper flu is flu. I mean, most people say I've got flu, but actually they just got a bad cold. Flu is, a whole different kettle of fish.
I think it's been going around this year. So that's good news, Robin. It's not just man flu, and we were struck down.
Or manthrax, as I like to call it.
I had a heated blanket that was just like hugging for the entirety. Like, I'm gonna die. This is it.
Yes.
This is the end.
And like just sweating, and you've got a fever and you don't need it, but you just feel so awful.
Oh.
Yeah. I remember I'd never had night sweats before, and I had to like change my pajamas like 3 times. Crazy.
Brutal. Yeah, so it's a real shame, particularly with that field. But the good thing was I got to watch the live stream and see the race unfold and see Fee do really well, obviously, which was really, really encouraging.
No, that was great, wasn't it? And obviously those 3 men at the front, would you have given them a bit of hassle?
So I think I would have been a nuisance probably in a similar fashion to a lot of the other runners at the start, and then probably been fighting it out for fourth place kind of thing. I say that because my estimation for my best finishing time would have been 10 and a half hours. So I think I would have been just off the pace had everything gone right. Obviously, it was sad because I was in good shape, having just started working with a coach this year, and had been on the course. I knew actually it wasn't as runnable, I think, as everyone had made it out to be. Actually, it's quite a lot of mucky, muddy, rocky, scrambly trails, and then vineyards through grassy, muddy fields. The fact that Jim can still do it in under 10 hours, I think, just goes to show how good he is.
Yeah, you don't expect him to be good in mud, do you?
No.
I think that would play to a Brit's advantage.
Again, I think they went out like 2 weeks before and they'd done their homework, so I think it really showed. And then, I mean, Killian's Killian. He can just rock up, a few hours before and disappear a few hours after. But the idea was to go for the golden ticket, so that was the plan. So I think I have to rethink that one. Probably for next year, maybe do one of the American races instead to give myself a better shot. But yeah, that's something I'd like to do at some point with Western States.
Well, second and third were only 10:27, weren't they? So, I mean, you might have been able to eke a couple more minutes out. Who knows?
Yeah, in the past, I've been quite close with my estimates. In 2023, 2024 wasn't a great year, and so I was way off my predicted times. You can never really tell. I think a lot of it is just luck.
Yeah, fair enough. How you feel on the day makes a big difference, doesn't it? And you had the flu.
And the conditions.
Yeah, I mean, exactly.
Who could have predicted mud in Chianti?
No.
It was all a bit grim.
It's not billed as that kind of race. I mean, I went in with a prop, but I was like, I've got the right shoe. I've got 5 mil lugs, Vibram outsole, great shoe from Kailas actually. If you haven't seen it, EX Pro. It's like it's a Tecton X3, but just with beefed up lugs, basically, just to give you an idea. Great shoe.
Robin?
Oh yeah, that's the next one to try then, clearly, isn't it? What is that? Pro 4?
No, EX Pro.
All right.
EX Pro, yeah.
I can get it on AliExpress for £76.
That can't be right.
That can't be.
Get it on Temu. Temu for tenner.
Yeah. let's not go down that route. So tell us about where you're at now and who you're working with and how that came about. Obviously,
Mm,
yeah.
yeah. So last end of 2023, I was on top of the world and sort of flying and thought I can just keep on racing 100 milers 2 months apart without any consequence. In 2024, as I think I basically faced faced all the problems, the hole that I dug myself into, and realized that something was wrong and that I needed help. And essentially, I had, I know now, iron deficiency, potentially to the point of anemia, which was a big part of the problem. And Doug Stewart, who I mentioned before, said he's been working with some friends as a coach and runs the elite trail team. And he said, you need to check your iron.
Mm,
And lo and behold, when I did, it came back low. So immediately felt like he knew what he was talking about. Applied to join his team, but didn't get in. And but he offered to take me on to coach. So started working with him this year. End of last year as well, I went to Thailand, UTMB, Chiang Mai. I got my qualification back to UTMB and bumped into the Kailas team out there who made an offer to run for them. So I'm not sure how this has happened, but I found myself in a fortunate position this year where I've got a coach and a team sponsor. Um, and health is returning apart from the flu, and as is the fitness. So I feel like I'm gradually getting back
mm.
to where I was in 2023.
Was that just a classic case of overtraining, do you think? Overdoing it?
Yeah, yeah, and yeah, I think I just got away with it for so long that I thought that I could continue to get away with it. Um, and it just, yes, like, the expression when the wheels come off, it really was that kind of falling
Mm,
off a cliff edge
mm.
kind of moment. Um, and yeah, I think it happens particularly to a lot of people who have the opportunity to train full time because you inevitably do too much without
Mm.
anyone pulling on the reins.
Guiding, yeah, yeah. Interesting.
What are the symptoms like? Is it sort of depleted energy sort of stuff?
Yeah, yeah, low energy. And I was smashing loads of sugar and gels and things, obviously thinking it was a energy issue, but it would have no effect. And then that was causing issues with like teeth infections. Sleep was terrible, recovery was terrible, skin terrible, digestion awful. So it just becomes like all these downstream effects. Um, Also, interrupt your training and your recovery. um so now I'm being much more careful. Like, my weight's been a lot more consistent like this year, so that's something I'm really focusing on: eating well, taking supplements, um and overall I'm training less this year than I have in the past few years, and focusing more on that like top end work. So like really maximizing how you use your energy, where you expend it.
Do they give you nutritional advice as well?
I mean, again, like Doug's been really generous. He's like put me in touch with a nutritionist who they use at the Elite Trail team. So I've had lots of support on that side of things.
Because that's a minefield, isn't it? With
Yeah. Oh yeah. And like iron is like this weird complex thing where you can take supplements, but it might not actually fix the problem.
Mm.
Um, and there's always like things that could be inhibiting the absorption, or you're just genetically, you might have um, certain genes that mean that you turn over iron quite quickly. So you might be good at responding to altitude, but as a result, you get through iron very quickly.
Blimey, that
Yeah.
is just it's awful, isn't it? Yeah, but how difficult to resolve. What
Mm.
a
It's
dream.
a bit of a minefield. Yeah.
Yeah. So have you got that sort of under control now? Do you know what you need to have iron wise per week or per day? Or
I mean, yeah, it's like I take a supplement in the morning and the evening, ideally on like an empty stomach to help with absorption, and taking bloods every 3 months now. Um, so although my blood levels are back to where they should be, the storage form in ferritin is quite slow to respond. So it's just something I have to keep an eye on going forward. And actually, like I think it's like you don't hear athletes talk about it enough, but anecdotally now I know a lot of athletes who were in teen last year before UTMB were struggling with iron. Um, and just it's very easy to overdo when you're at altitude, and being a runner as well, because supposedly you break down more red blood cells, particularly in your feet, as a result of the impact, and so your requirements for iron are much higher. So it's definitely like any runners listening out there, like
Really?
I beg you, go and get it checked at least once a year,
Yeah.
if not more.
So
Yeah.
it's that affected by altitude, is it?
Yeah, huge. And I went to teen last year for 4 weeks, in a state of already being depleted, and so that was like
Yeah.
that really broke the camel's back.
at
Gosh.
what point during last year did you get it sort of under control? It must have been before Thailand, surely.
Just, I mean, yeah, it was pretty close to the wire. So started taking supplements in October. So I'd been on supplements for 7 weeks when
Right.
I did Thailand. So I was starting to feel better. Um, but like I know now, I probably wasn't fully recovered. So even like doing Thailand was like on that sort of, I guess, limit of is this a good idea or not? But it was the last race of the year where I could get qualification back to UTMB. So I felt like it was that sort of risk reward. It was worth the risk.
Definitely. Whereabouts did you need to finish to get the qualification?
Top 10 for Thailand because it's the major. So got seventh, and that was all I needed.
Wicked. And then that ended up that you met your new sponsor as well.
And then you get a sponsor, like, yeah, I kind of talked about it in the blog, like, actually just putting yourself out there and meeting people could
Mm.
actually be the most important factor for securing a contract, which is a nice little segue onto that subject.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, well, you did take on a manager, didn't you? Um, but yeah, so how much 'cause originally you had Hannah,
Yes.
then you switched, didn't you? So
Yeah.
I mean
Yeah.
what I mean how much do they help and how much actually did you end up doing yourself?
Yeah. So like I said, yeah, I had my first offer just from meeting Gediminas Grinius, who's the sort of Vibram athlete manager, at the after UTMB 2023. And that didn't really work out, in the end. And that's when I started working with agents,
Mm.
Hannah Tilsey first, and then Santara Group contacted me after Translantau. And I was a bit wooed, I'd say, is probably a fair description, because they represent all the top triathletes and top runners, um, trail runners at least. And I thought, if they're not going to take someone on unless they think there's a paycheck, in it for them. So I really felt like this must be the way forward. Um, but honestly, in the end, only one offer came through, um, which was with Kiprun, and it wasn't for a crazy amount of money. It was very similar to the other offers I'd had. So bear in mind that they would take a 20% commission as well. They weren't actually going to get me
Mm.
anything more than I could negotiate for myself, which I think is interesting, because agents are probably only a worthwhile venture once you're sort of close to that, let's call it superstar status. Um, and athletes like myself, which I would term level one out of a three-level tier system, are probably better off, learning the ropes yourself and negotiating your own
Mm.
your own deals, partly because of the value, because the values are lower.
Yes, I mean, definitely recommend anyone listening. You've got to go and read Tom's blog because it's fascinating and amusing at the same time with these levels and your totty as well. But it does seem terribly unfair. I mean, even with the Vibrant offer, you asked just to
Mm,
consider it, and then it was immediately rescinded. It's like, well,
yeah, I
what
think
you mean,
that's yeah.
you should have been so thankful. You should have whipped it out of their hands in gratitude.
Yeah, I was kicking myself a lot, trying to trying to wait for a better deal essentially, and
Mm.
then the initial offer got taken away. But it does highlight an important point, I think, again for athletes at my level, that you you have a market rate, a market value, and if you're not willing to take that deal, there's 10 other athletes who are willing to step up and who are willing to take it because, I mean, for a lot of guys and girls, like just getting a contract is a huge achievement, even if it is a low value,
Mm.
because that's progress. That's that first step towards the dream of being a professional athlete. And yeah, you've got to understand that the brands, they hold the cards, they hold the money, and you do have to bend over a little bit to get those contracts.
I've
Yeah.
been thinking about this a lot since we talked about it, and I'm not business minded, so I could be barking up the wrong tree, but is there not a case to argue that if races offered better prize money, it would elevate the whole sport, both in terms of what the runners can earn and they would earn through being better runners, and attracting the field sort of coming up and through, and therefore that's better for the brands.
I think you're right, and I think we're still at too early a stage,
Mm.
or we're in that transition period. A great sort of episode I listened to was the guy who runs the PTO, the Professional Triathlete Organization, and his point was that the problem is not that triathlon is a great sport. The problem is that you're vying for people's attention from all of the other sports. And I think that's also true with like trail running. Like there are
Mm.
so many different race series that athletes are spread around too thinly. Um,
Yeah.
but as we're seeing that, like, let's call it, I suppose, funneling of like all the top athletes to Golden Trail, Sky Running, UTMB series, and World Trail Majors. Have I covered off probably the main big
I
ones?
think so, yeah. Yeah.
But oh, and World Champs, I suppose. But there is money at World Champs. Um,
Only if you can get there.
if you can get there, yeah, if you've got the money to get there,
Yeah.
um, then we're going to see those like better prize purses,
Mm.
and those races putting up better money that will attract better fields, therefore
Yeah.
better camera, better advertising for the sport. Um, but I agree, yeah, there are races, and I've spoken to people like at canyons, Black Canyons, for example, where supposedly the race is making quite a lot of money,
Mhm.
and there's no prize money at that race. So I think it's definitely a
There's
good
an
case
argument.
to be
Yeah.
made for it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, interesting. And I mean, just in terms of marketing, it would be a great thing to do because it's so unusual now. It would immediately turn everyone's attention on you if you offer a purse of some sort, I would have thought.
Yeah, so some friends who run Ultra X, they did a World Championship level event. Originally, the prize purse was going to be £50,000, so 25,000 for male, 25 for the female,
Hmm.
and they were using that hypothesis that this would attract everyone, and they had Powell, Capel, Tom Evans, loads of other top athletes on the
Hmm.
invited list, but none of them turned up. Um, I think maybe partly because of it being a multi-day format, that they weren't interested in the race. But it meant when I went, I was able to win the money, but because they didn't get the field of athletes they wanted, they ended up actually halving the
Okay.
prize purse.
Is that your biggest race?
So it is, yeah. It's the one I used for the photo for the blog article
Yeah.
to sort of
Oh, funny.
grab attention.
Hey,
But just
that
putting
kind
up big prizes doesn't necessarily work. And I think Run Rabbit Run is a good example of that. Like $15,000 roughly now, I think, for winning. And because it's just timed badly close to UTMB,
Mm.
it doesn't attract a very competitive field.
Hmm. Yeah, I wonder whether because there's talk of trail running being in the 2032 Olympics, I think, in Brisbane.
Yeah, in Brisbane, yeah.
Maybe that would be enough to just boost it a little bit more and get a few
Yeah.
names just into main headlines, and then perhaps they might get more people watching. Everything sort of goes up.
Yeah.
Mm.
That could be.
Yeah. I mean, the problem with the Olympics, of course, will be getting it into a 1 hour time format to make it televisable, which means a looped course. So you can probably imagine it would be like the mountain bike, like a 5K course. The men do 3 loops, the women do 2 or something.
Oh, no.
Um,
Well,
and it won't actually be what the sport is.
I mean, that is one of the tricky things, isn't it, with ultras, is that not it's a very long time to be
Mm,
following. But gosh, I'm trying to remember his name now. The chap I spoke to, who was the chair of the working group to put trail running to Brisbane, said that he thinks the future is virtual reality viewing, um,
mm,
and selling on that. And so some poor buggers got to run alongside the runners or cycle alongside them at sort of salient points. I mean, how realistic that is, I don't know. Um, Having said that, we've got the phenomenal success of dot watching for races like the Spine and the Arc and that sort of thing. And that's no one expected that, did they? But
mm.
that has
Yeah,
become
it's true.
over a long format. So
Yeah.
pay
Yeah,
pay to
and with the
view per
camera
watch.
runners and the drones now, like, I mean,
Mm,
the coverage is pretty amazing that you do
yeah.
get at these races.
Yeah.
Um, Chianti was a great one actually. Like they had pretty much constant coverage of the race.
Yes. And I think if you've got people constantly coming through checkpoints, so you can always have the camera going to watch people coming through, can't you? I mean, you don't have to watch
Mm,
the whole time, just
mm,
It's
I
nice
mean,
to see them though, isn't it? Even just if the camera's just behind them for even just a few minutes, it's nice to just
mm,
watch an elite level runner running the trail and just see how they do it and how quickly they maneuver the terrain. I remember watching a few videos on YouTube ages ago. I think it was Jamil Corey following Hayden Hawks and someone else just for about 20 minutes of an American trail race. And it's just, there's no background music, nothing. You just watch them race for 20 minutes. It's fascinating.
quite
It,
intense, I should
yeah,
imagine.
it's almost better when the commentators aren't talking.
yeah,
You're just watching the race. Yeah.
yeah.
Mm,
There's
mm.
usually a few face palm sort of comments, isn't there? Especially when it's talking about men versus women. There's a lot of, well, there's supposedly quite a lot of poor choice of wording for the women competitors versus the male. I've heard in Golden
Mm,
Trail recently.
okay. Yeah. Yeah. You got to be so careful now as well. I
Yeah.
wouldn't want to be doing the
No,
commentating. That's for sure.
no, no, don't waffle if you've got nothing to say.
I would like to film it though. That would be fun running alongside, as long as you could anyway.
Yeah, well, unless you're trying to like keep up with Killian or Jim, you're
Yeah.
just getting dropped.
Yeah.
You need a mountain bike for that, I reckon.
You need a
But then the
wingsuit.
terrain, I mean, the terrain as well makes that difficult when it's the,
Yeah.
really gnarly stuff. You can't be next to them. You've got to be either right behind them or right in front of them and not on the bike.
Yeah. Okay, so UTS 100 milers coming up.
Mm,
That I've done obviously most of the course. You've been out and wrecked it quite a lot
mm.
recently. How did you find it? You said you wondered how they'd managed to do under 24 hours on that course.
Yeah, I saw
Yeah.
your Instagram post. That was funny. Yeah.
Uh, yeah, I don't know how. I mean, being a good descender is going to sort of make or break um, your experience, I think, on the course. Because the climbs themselves are like not too steep. If you say compare it to say like climbs in the lakes, the terrain is very similar, sort of very rocky sections in the first part with quite a lot of boulders over the tops and some sort of scree slopes on the downs. But the overall, like the gradients are a little bit gentler. So I'd say a lot of those climbs are still quite runnable. Um, and it's the descents that's like the tricky spots. The weather was amazing when I was there. I mean, it's almost been too dry because like there was a section of the course off the course actually where there'd been a fire, and I saw as well in the Mourne Mountains there'd been fires
Mm,
on like some of the PT areas. So if that's happening now in April,
Mm.
um, and it's still pretty warm and dry in the UK, I think, isn't it? I mean, it's
yeah.
raining here. Um, but like it'll help for drying out the bogs. But then, I mean, it's almost like becoming like a Western States kind of thing. It's like, is there going to be a fire risk and a smoke risk and stuff on the course?
Gosh, hadn't thought of that.
No, you don't normally have to worry about it, though, do you?
No, I'm trying to think.
No,
Well, because the 100K, half of which I've done, I mean, that's mainly rocky. I can't imagine. But yeah, I suppose yeah, there's aspects of the 100 miler that go over peat as well.
yeah. Those sections were still quite wet when I went over, so quite boggy. You might have seen the sheep that got stuck, and
Oh
so
yes,
I'm hoping
you
actually
saved the
that it
sheep.
that it
Dinner.
that it does stay dry, and that
Yes.
those sections will dry out
Mm,
because then those are very runnable if it's dry. It's
mm,
almost like that sort of magic carpet feeling when you get nice, sort of dry,
spongy.
mossy grass. Yeah,
It's a dream.
yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, going back to your um theory about Instagram followers versus
Mm,
performance, I mean,
mm.
do you find that you've been putting more effort into your Instagram recently, and has it grown
It was one thing that Santar agency were like, try and put more effort in. So I get like last year, I did try and do more posting. Um, I question though, like how much effort it requires versus if you use that time more wisely,
Mm,
into say better training or better recovery. And because good race performances at big races are going to get you a lot more following. And ultimately, I'm doing the sport because I want to do good performances and
mm,
race at
mm,
the top level against the best guys. I'm not doing it to get the followers. I'm doing the races, and the followers come secondary to that in order to support the professional side of the sport. So it's, yeah, prioritizing it is difficult.
yeah,
And
tough, isn't it?
just we had a really good talk with Kailas on like where you can improve, what you can do, um, to make your posts more engaging and that kind of thing. Um, but it's tough. Like everyone is, like I said, it's that same aspect of competing for people's attention and time. And so like the standard I think is gradually going up.
Mm,
Um, like grainy photos taken in landscape and stuff is just not going to cut it anymore.
no.
Um, you've got to make reels, you've got to engage with the audience and do all these things to be entertaining and appealing.
You should get Robin as your consultant.
Oh, I don't know about
Yeah.
that.
His Robin's running roundup is very good.
To be fair, since I've been following Robin, particularly his reels and memes, like I really enjoy those. Like the film, I'm a big like I love all those film
Yeah,
outtakes. They just like absolutely, I love that
Yeah,
kind of stuff.
they
They're
absolutely.
great.
work
No,
so
that
well for running, don't they?
Yeah.
yeah, no, they're brilliant. They're brilliant. And it's
With reels, it's weird. With you can get so much less engagement with a reel so often, but then one might get 10 times as much. Whereas normal posts, you'll find a bit more consistency and more likes and responses. It's strange. I don't know whether it's just how there's loads of factors, isn't there? Like what time you post and whether
Yeah, it's like the first second of that reel is like so key
yeah,
because that's what hooks
Mm.
people in.
yeah.
But your account's been growing really, really quickly. I'd say you're obviously quite good at it.
Yeah, well, I've got my wife to thank for quite a lot of it as well.
Uh,
She's
It's
yeah,
her we need to engage.
yeah. I mean, as soon as we put a post out, for example, I've got four accounts on my phone, so I go and like my own post with all of those accounts straight away because it's good to boost it straight
Yeah.
away, like and it has more chance of sort of well catching fire if you like.
But then I think that
Interesting.
they must know it's you. They must know it's you liking your own post.
Yeah, I wonder that as well,
So
but
you're saying that you use bots, and the bots are in fact just
I
you.
am the bot. Yeah,
You are the bot.
I'm the bot. No,
It
no.
is a crazy scenario though, isn't it? I mean, it's fine. I mean, I think it's for Robin and people like Robin who or his wife who can sort of do it on the side because it's a bit of fun and it happens to be really successful. It's great. But then the moment you've got any form of sort of responsibility or duty to do it, if you're not that way inclined, there's a lot of people just are not interested in social media. And I think
Mm,
it can be fair to say a lot of runners are not interested in social media by the very
mm,
definition of what you do. You're out there, you're not thinking about what on earth to post. It just
yeah,
seems such a
yeah.
ridiculous measure to have to.
I hope it gradually moves away from like one platform being the dominant thing,
Mm,
and like things like longer form content on YouTube or doing podcasts or just
mm,
other ways of advertising brands become more common. Because I mean, I spend way too much time on Instagram. Like you go on there to do a post, next thing you know, half an hour has gone and you haven't actually started. Um, yeah, I mean those apps are addictive and they're not good for you.
but to be honest, as someone who works with it, I mean, even you take away the addictive side, I can lose an hour
Yeah.
purely through having to do the engagement, to
Mm,
go off and check, countless the countless numbers of accounts I manage. I have to go and check them all, check what notifications I've got, then go through and do a quick sort of post and then like lots of people just to show that yes, I'm active on that account and yes, I'm seeing what you've
mm.
done and maybe I mean it's just it's so
It's
time
mindless.
consuming.
Yeah. I mean, you guys write articles obviously as well, and I think where more athletes are doing like long form written stuff,
Mm,
that's gaining popularity. So I'm quite glad about that because I much prefer. It's way more engaging and I think better for an athlete's development to write longer
yeah,
form stuff and
yeah,
actually
yeah.
analyze stuff in more depth rather than trying to be witty and funny for 5 seconds. Yeah.
Yeah, that's soul destroying. Well, I would always be very happy to publish anything you'd like to write for me.
Thank you. Well, if you yeah, let me know if you think I can do anything. That sounds great.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're going to want to know how UTS goes for sure.
Mm, yeah.
Um, and
Yeah. Fingers crossed.
we'll definitely be rooting for you.
Yeah. Thank you.
It's true though, with some posts, I'm always surprised how much people have read of what I've said. Um,
Mm,
in comparison to other things. Like running Instagram is quite strange because some of the most liked posts are just this person doing the same selfie every day with in the same spot in the street, and it just gets loads of engagement all the time. And then you've got Medal Monday. People, it's very very the same everywhere. So trying to pull people out of the habit of being used to that and accepting that running social media can be a bit more different and more exciting seems to be quite a tough task. So I completely agree. It does need to evolve. And I started watching running on YouTube first, and I think that's where I like it the most because I think longer form content is better and it's more
mm,
real with what you can see of the route someone's running, maybe, or the race that they're doing, or what they're talking about. Because running takes a long time. It doesn't take 5 to 10 seconds, doesn't it? So it's hard to
Yeah.
tell the story in such brief little windows where you've got a tiny pocket of someone's attention.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So your ultimate goal, I assume, is to go back to UTMB
Yeah.
and better your 16th place.
Yeah, absolutely. I have a time in mind which is 21 hours, which I think I'm capable of running at this point in my career. And in theory, that should get you top 10, somewhere between sort of fifth and
Mm,
sort of 10. But you never know on the year, the conditions and the field. This year will obviously be interesting to see who goes to Worlds and who goes to UTMB. And I know not all countries, but certain countries are certainly putting restrictions on racing at UTMB week if you're also selected for World Champs. So some
interesting.
people will have to decide one way or the other.
Mm, that's interesting. And have you seen a change in the times over the years at UTMB with the course and as people develop and get better and technology and shoes?
Yeah, I mean, Doug literally did a workshop, a seminar last week, and he did an analysis on the times.
Mm,
Um, it was interesting because the majority of people are still finishing in that like last quarter percentile of times, but yeah, the times are trending faster. He puts that stuff online on the ETT website, so you can actually see the graph and the data for anyone who's
okay.
interested.
Interesting.
Um, and I think like last year, I did quite a lot of analysis looking at the splits based on percentage of overall time. And I think a lot of athletes are going down that route as well, looking at how to best optimize the pacing um, for the race. And on across such a long race, that can make quite a big difference because I think like people have talked to death about carbohydrates and the shoes
Mm,
and cooling, which is probably a factor now at UTMB. And so I think it's like now looking elsewhere where they can find significant savings.
those gains and
Yeah,
yeah, I mean,
yeah,
and do you think that's as the general upward trend is runners coming through, more runners coming up from through the ranks from the shorter distances, and people just generally getting better as more and more people enter ultra running, rather than it being this
yeah,
rare sport?
yeah, yeah. I think definitely in the same way that like you saw in the past, the 5K, 10K guys going up to the road marathons, um, and bringing that speed with them.
Mm,
That the same will probably be true of the 20K, 50K guys. A lot of whom are already like stepping up to the 100K mark and absolutely obliterating course records and things. Um, I think Eli Hemming's doing CCC this year, and there'll be lots of other guys who are coming up who
mm,
may eventually one day step up to the 100 miler. I do still think there is a bit of a, I don't know what it is, like a bit of a unknown code to be cracked with races around the 20-hour mark. There is something else than
mm.
just holding a high speed for a long time, going through a night, probably, not having the sleep and having to deal with the intricacies there is probably a factor. But I mean, at least for me anyway, I think the 100 mile is the main focus um, because it is more about all of the other things than just
Mm.
gritting your teeth and suffering as much as it is about being fast. I say that, and when I did finish UTMB, I was still, over 2 hours behind Jim. So being fast is still
Yes.
massively important.
Yeah, yeah. It's interesting, isn't it? Because I think there's still so much um that we're learning about ultra running even now, and there's still people are still making improvements, like Kim Collison talking about sleep on the spine, and someone else talking about the eating at the Tour de Géant, and actually
Mm,
people, the people that did better are the ones that actually stopped and sat down and ate a full
mm,
meal, which
yeah,
normally as ultra runners you'd be horrified. You can't spend any time in the checkpoint, but actually now you're
yeah,
thinking, well, maybe we should be. It's
yeah,
constantly changing, isn't it?
yeah. So interesting. Like a lot of the Asian athletes stopping and like eating a full bowl of noodles.
Mm,
Um, whereas at UTMB, I'd have like my vest pre-packed with food so that I could eat it on the go kind of thing.
yeah.
But then actually is stopping and absorbing some of that food and just giving your body a chance to get to like for the stomach to settle actually better for the next 6 hour period. Yeah.
Did it give you those marginal gains having, yeah. I mean, that's it, isn't it? It's still an unknown quantity. It's
Mm,
people have still got to test that and see,
mm,
and it's all different. It's different for every person as well, isn't it? And what works best for you.
yeah. I mean, in theory, I did like a linear, what's it called, extrapolation on the times
Mm,
from 2023. And if you took the scores and maxed it out to 1,000, I think the finishing time was about around 18 hours 20 for UTMB. So like in their theoretical
okay. Wow.
estimate is that someone could potentially do it in that time,
Wow.
assuming the algorithm doesn't change. Um, so I still think there's a lot of time. Like it's hard to believe now, but it was like the same in Kona at the World Championships for Ironman. No one had gone under 8 hours. Then the first person went under eight. And then like last year, you had to go under eight to get into the top 10. So I think we'll probably see that similar trend
Yeah.
at UTMB where the entire podium will go under 20 and eventually you'll have to be going under 20 for the top 10.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, you can imagine just in 10 years that we'll probably know so much more than we do now. It does make you wonder what it's going to be. What is it going to be that's going to crack it? I mean, there's a lot of talk about the amount of carbs per hour and stuff like that, isn't there? But
Yeah, I'm actually I'm going anti-carb at the moment. I think too many carbs is actually probably not a good thing.
Oh, controversial.
Controversial. I mean, yeah, like
For you
some
or in
carbs
general?
good.
yeah,
Well, like in general, I again like we got athletes. You think about it, athletes are all like advertising for their nutrition brands, the feed or whoever, stuffing hundreds of grams of carbohydrate down their necks, thinking this is the answer. But like having had a tooth pulled out and major surgery, like literally 2 weeks ago, to fix it, and hearing like other athletes, triathletes suffering with like blood glucose issues, like the long term, we don't know what the long term impacts are for like high
Yeah.
carb fueling yet. So I think it's one of these things like you just want to be careful of that. Don't just jump on the bandwagon because it's the new hot trend. Um, like consider that longer
Yeah.
term health impacts and
Interesting.
things.
Gosh. Well, I always said my cheese and pickle sarnies were the best.
Mm, there you go, real food.
it's pizza for me. I really like having a cold pizza like
So,
that.
Yeah,
how do you
salty.
carry how do you carry pizza?
I had it wrapped in cling film in the back of my.
Yes.
Did you really?
Yeah,
Or do you go for like two slices, face to face,
yeah,
and then it like slots in quite nicely into like
Into one of the
the
pockets.
hydration bucket. Yeah.
we cooked it a little bit, so it could have been a bit softer, but yeah, it was really good. It properly helps. It's a dream. Yeah, someone
Wow.
from the club told me that years ago.
Salty carbs.
Yeah.
That's
Nice.
Also, people at my running club said you must never sit down in an ultra, so everything changes, swings and roundabouts.
well, when you get to my age, you can't get up again, so that's true. Right, have we got any more questions for Tom?
I do, I do.
I can hear the clicking.
Yes, yeah, I've got a little Word document. Are donuts your best go-to snack for running?
Donuts.
As long as they haven't got dairy in. A lot of those Krispy Kremes you probably saw me wolfing down did not do me any favors. Um, or yeah, getting back to my shared Airbnb host's shared bathroom was not a pleasant experience for either of
Oh
us, I think.
no. Oh dear.
That's it's just the real truths of running, though, isn't it? We don't talk about it on
Yeah.
the podcast, I don't think.
D- d- But yeah, I mean, great for trying to get the calories in. Um,
Was
donuts,
that pre
donuts
or
are good.
post race?
I just had the box. This was on the recce in Wales, and I just
Oh, I missed
had the
that bit.
box of Krispy Kremes
Okay.
on the front seat. So in between going to the car and doing a leg, I was just wolfing down donuts. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Right. Don't eat donuts before racing. You heard it here first.
Yeah.
Gosh, who did I hit? I was talking to someone. I was talking to someone earlier. Oh, Joe from Run, Walk, Crawl, who told me that an athlete of his had been told he should drink a pint of olive oil before their
Oh no.
triathlon. I mean, who does that? Why?
That one comes up a lot in triathlon. I don't know what it's like. It must be a triathlete thing because they
It is.
think oil having loads of calories in would be the best way of fueling. And like triathletes have been trying that for years. I think um,
Surely
Mark Allen tried doing that back in like the 90s or something.
really, that just
Yeah,
seems
it
bonkers.
doesn't work.
No.
There's an olive oil trend for just having a shot of olive oil every day or something like that at the moment. I saw it pop up on some trending.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
God.
it's supposed to
No.
be good for your digestion or something like that. I don't know.
No. No. Well, my first reaction was I felt sorry for the swimmers behind whoever did that. Because that can't be good.
Oh, in the water. Yeah, yeah. It'd be all slick on top of the water as well.
Yeah.
Oh no.
You love diving into the stats of everything. Do you stalk out
Mm.
you're running? Have you looked at who you're running against in UTS 100 miler?
Yeah, main competition, or actually, I should say, I'm competition to him is Zachary Garner,
Yeah.
American, who has won Trail Andorra.
Wow.
So I think he's pretty handy on like the technical terrain.
Hills.
Um, and yeah, I had a quick look through
Yeah.
the splits and times. So I'll be trying to use probably similar to like Mark's times from last year as a gauge to go off. And I think there's a couple of there's an Italian guy,
Yeah.
maybe someone else from the US, McGonigal, and then a whole load of Brits. Like bumped into a local Welsh guy last weekend who was just doing everything in his power to drop me on the descents. I was getting, he was pretty fast as well, and then luckily we came to an uphill, and he was out the back, so
Funny. Did
put
you know?
it put
Did
my
he know
worries
who
to
you
rest.
were?
Well, yeah, we started talking and said hello, but I don't think he knew who I was. Yeah,
Oh, that's funny.
That's really funny.
happens all the time.
Casper James is
But
doing.
it's better that way.
Does it?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I suppose it gives you a bit of speed training, but
Mm,
I don't know. Yeah.
Sometimes it's good to
yeah.
put someone in their place a little bit, isn't it? It's always with bikes on an uphill for me. I've got to take over the bike. It feels great.
Yes, yes, that's a satisfying. Yeah, some
And then
point.
get off the road as quickly as possible before the downhill so they can't come past.
Ego training.
Yeah. But it works though. It works for sort of segment chasing and stuff around here. It's good sort of
Hmm.
fartlek stuff, I suppose. It's a similar model.
Mm. None of that downhill running though, don't forget.
No downhill reps. We've been told you shouldn't do that.
Well, ish. But then
Yeah,
I've just published an article that says you
maybe you should.
should. Well, but in a very specific way. So, yeah, I'm going with the coaches and I'm not saying anything.
All right. Well, I'm very excited to see how you do. I can't wait to watch. I would
Mm.
be there that weekend, but now I've got to go on holiday, sadly. So
Oh, lucky you.
Oh, shame.
yeah,
When is it? It's the end of May, isn't it?
The 16th of May.
16th. Okay. So
Yeah,
yeah, it's not far out, is it? A month.
it's not far out.
A
No.
month. Oh,
Well,
well,
Robin Cassidy's doing the women's as well. Oh, awesome.
who is sorry?
Robin Cassidy's doing the 100
Oh,
mile as
okay.
well. Or at least she's signed up for it as far as UTMB is concerned. Wicked.
Mm.
Oh yeah, can't wait to watch, and I'm sure you'll do great, Tom. I hope you
Thanks.
under 24. That'd be wicked.
Yeah, thank you.
But as
Yeah.
long as you can just have a proper run out and
Yeah,
just be happy with what you've done, I think is probably more important for you, isn't it?
yeah, I think just getting back to like that ability of being able to push um, myself rather than like just doing what I can. That's really what I'm looking for. Going back to burying myself,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. A
but
good,
not in an unhealthy way. Yeah,
having a very good race. That's yeah, a good
Oh,
challenge.
that's all. It's all any athlete wants. Doesn't matter like the
Mm.
time. Just like if you can get 100% out of yourself. Yeah.
well,
Well,
enjoy the final descent down from Mole Ileo. It's
Mm,
a proper winning sort of track that all the way back down to Llanberis.
yes. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I like that section.
Mm.
No, but the track is nice, but then you've got that horrible wiggly bit that goes around the fields and then you get lost. I did
A little
anyway.
bit.
Well, thank you so much, Tom. Really great to talk to you and all the very best of luck.
Yeah. Great talking. Thanks, guys. And yeah, I'll do my best.